Hello, friends, and welcome to Talking with Famous People, the internet television program that's constantly broadcasting the truth to your ears. Yes, that's our new motto. Constantly broadcasting the truth to your ears. Talking with Famous People. Come, my darling. Come and sit with me, my precious, precious angel. Do you know that you're my precious, precious angel?
Yes.
Ear truthing. That's right. I am ear truthing you. I'm more than just ear truthing you. I'm truth earing you because in this episode of live stream, Talking with Famous People live stream, you are going to know about tomorrow's typology today. What are the new changes that are going to happen in typology any minute now? What new technologies will develop to allow us to type somebody with a quick scanner like on Star Trek, where they just go like this and they go ENFP. When will that happen? Well, pretty soon, but not yet. So, in the meantime, we'll have to just keep doing what we're doing, I think. That's what I'm thinking.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that in the meantime, before we develop this scanner, we're just going to have to keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah. And obviously, you would want the most accurate.
Right. Tomorrow's typology today is found right here on Talking with Famous People. Dorky and Nerdy is working very hard on that technology. He's doing a shitty job of it. He's a piss poor typologist, frankly. Piss poor, I say. A light bulb flashes above people's heads if they're ISTJ, in which case everyone around them beats the ISTJ brutally. That sounds like a horrible world, Isaiah Rude. Let's not imagine such a world as that.
Poor ISTJs.
Dorky O Nerdy. I appreciate that nickname, Hambone. I think it's appropriate. So I don't know why I have hostility towards Daria Nardi, except some sort of interquadra warfare or something. I think he's mistyped himself. Right. He's not armchair philosophizing properly. He's trying to mix in empirics with armchair philosophy, and that's never going to do. As a professional armchair philosopher, let me tell you, I don't know what he thinks he is. Me thinks he's got his head up his ass. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. So, oh hi, Susie.
Thinker.
How's Susie doing tonight? Is she made out of cheese? Is she made out of please? Is she made out of P's and D's and W's? The future of the NE user. They're going to have a robot to follow through on their ideation, to execute their tool function NE. He's constantly trying to sniff his prostate through his anal lining? Huh. Interesting visual there. Isaiah Rude. Let's see. So yeah, you're gonna have robots. That's the answer, introverted thinker. For all of you SE polar people out there, the future does bring you robots to do your SE shit for you.
Oh yeah.
Could be miniature Susie. It could be a miniature Abraham. Maybe you get a miniature Abraham. Abraham gets a miniature Susie. Is that that possibility? It's possible.
It is possible.
Or you could both get just silver cylindrical robot looking things. Ken Krishna Sarmapagu says that's so reassuring. I'm glad you're. I don't really have access to local Susie anymore. I gotta tell you, remote Susie. Can we all have sex robots that simulates the moans of our duel? Interesting. Ken Krishna Sarmapagu. Hey, it's Ken Krishna Sarmapagu. How do you do with your two? Ken Krishna Sarmapagu. Welcome, Ken Krishna Sarmapagu. And I see you brought your name with you again today. Congratulations on that. So, as we were saying, that's the future for SE Polar. What's the future for SI Polar? Well, that'd be Magic Sky Friend, who writes down and has available for replay every experience that the SI Polar person's had before. So they can review it if they want to by going playback November 4th, 2012 from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. And you can see exactly what experience you had. Hey, Rachel. Hey, Eric. Hey, Ken Krishna Sarma Pagu. As you see, we are both wearing the same sweatshirt, but in opposite colors. So,
What do you think about that? Can we all have sex robots that simulate the moans of our duel?
I don't know. Here's the thing, Rachel. If you or I are in a relationship and we have at our disposal sex robots, would we each choose to have sex with the robots instead of each other?
No.
I don't think so.
No, I
would hope
that's
not.
my role.
Green is made by mixing blue with yellow. Oh, I see. You could have a foursome. That's true.
Okay, so if it's a foursome with what? The
two sex robots.
I could see that going very funny at the end. Like starting off really hot and then some really mechanical shit happening that would ruin it, but it'd be really funny.
Like the robot starts getting it gets on a loop of saying the same thing.
Yeah.
You are
That does make for a really good comedy. My brain is going so many different ways with that.
You'd be scared of the robot biting your dick off? I'm sure there'd be safety protocols to make sure that doesn't happen.
I mean, it might. I think we probably will hear something about a robot hurting a dick at some point.
All right. Yeah, you wouldn't want to malfunction with your sex robot for sure.
No. Yeah. No. Sex with caution.
So what Kid Krishna was Harmfoo pointed that I hadn't really realized, this isn't black with black letters on green. It's green letters on green. This one's green letters on black. I thought this was black letters on green, but it's not.
So let's see.
Hey Shreddy.
Hey Shreddy.
How you doing?
Hey.
Says Isaiah Rude in his most "What up, girl" kind of voice.
Interior. Good evening.
Isaiah Rude, the proper way to greet Shreddy when she comes around is "Hey girl." All females like that. They respond to that. If you say "Hey girl," they're immediately like, "Oh, hi."
Hey. Oh, hi. Yeah. Hey, girl.
All right. I'm going to do SE today, aka be person. Fingers crossed. Yeah, fingers crossed for Chandra. I'm stuck on an annoying slide puzzle. Looks simple, I just can't figure it out. You gotta slide it, Engantir. That's why it's called a slide puzzle.
Add more water.
Good evening, says April. How are you, Zaylen Black? Are you well? Are you imagining yourself on a desert island with coconuts and sharks? Why are your hearts so blue, Sredi Chandran? Do you forget the natural color for a heart is red or pink? Frustrated over game, but fine otherwise.
Seems like that seems to be a trend.
Being frustrated over a game?
Yeah.
It in an ice cave.
Sofas in ice.
You gotta melt it with your warmth of your feelings. Coconut is called thin guy in Tamil and Naryal in Hindi. That is fun fact. That's so fun, that fact. I'm thrilled by it. What are you looking at?
Vedic astrology.
Blue can also be deoxygenated blood. Don't deoxygenate my blood, please. Kank and Krishna I've asked you not to do that before. I have a 14 character password for both my profiles on my computer. Is that still consistent with 6 slot SI? I mean, I don't think it says much of anything about where your SI is. Oh man, I want to play
Switch.
Dragon Quest Builders. You like what?
Nintendo Switch. It's fun. Like
what is it?
So you get to play. It's kind of like a Game Boy, like personal player, but then there's also like individual hand controllers on the sides of it, and you can connect it to your computer and play different games using the little controllers. It's kind of like virtual. You could play Mario Kart on it, Mario Smash Brothers, other Nintendo games too. It's pretty fun.
I see. Dragon Quest Builders. I mean, it suggests that you're probably security minded. I'd say maybe more NISE than SINE. I don't really know. I think it would depend on a lot of factors. I don't think it's definitive very much. How long are your passwords, Rachel? Long?
No.
Okay. Oh.
Not really. Like, yeah, not that long. How long are yours?
I got fairly long passwords, fairly complicated, but they're same or similar kind of thing too. So what do you think about this? I kind of want to talk a little bit about how Beta Quadra has an imperious quality. That Rachel and I were talking about this earlier a bit. That for all Beta Quadra types, there's this kind of comfort with hierarchy, and in particular with their own nobility in some regard. I wonder if anybody in the chat has any comments on that. It was something that was prompted by somebody saying in the chat that she doesn't have that quality, that beta domineering quality. I don't think that's what that person meant. I think I understand what he was referring to, but I think what he really meant was imperious quality to beta. Hi, Jeebus. I'm glad you're here. It's an important announcement for us. So, yeah, it kind of annoyed me about one of my exes who was INFJ, the imperious quality. The other thing is, I don't particularly find it. I think it's less obvious in some ways in Rachel than perhaps other, probably less obvious in general in ENFJs than in other Beta Quadra types, but it seems less obvious in Rachel. But I think it's there for sure. I think it comes from seeing things as a universal. You know, understanding the universal wholes of things means being aristocratic. No, it's NI plus TIFE. So it's that I mean, no, she hasn't contacted us since the last time we saw her, where we had a little bit of trouble, but she's not been in contact since. I think she understands that, whatever. I don't know. Who cares? No, it's just like I don't even. It's just thinking about the whole thing just makes me go, mess, past mess that I've cleaned up now. I don't want to think about that. So it's beta will act like rules or laws don't apply to them. However, they will turn around and present as casing law-abiding citizens, even befriend cops, just from my inexperienced observations. Do you think that's an example of imperiousness? The beta quadrant domineering quality is pretty obvious in ENFJs, in my opinion. So, what do you mean by domineering there, Shreddy? I'm curious because I want to understand better what that quality means. I love you too, Fancy Deluxe. Hi, Andre Z. What's up? The Sky. Ooh, elementary school joke. Burn. Jeebus. Hambone deserves one.
I agree with Adrian B. I do sometimes think like I'm above the law, but I also do have like my uncle is a cop and I love him and I'd always defend him. So there's that.
Command the room, manage the narratives, being quite assertive in their display. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't think INFJ is necessarily assertive in their display. They do manage the narratives. Even though it's not recommended, I, ENFP, want myself an ENFJ partner too. Flawless communication, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess that's what it is. I guess that, I don't know how much of our communication is mutual or how much of it is her ENFJ magic. Like, the fact is, she's not stayed with anybody forever before. She's had a couple of fairly long-term relationships, and mostly short-term relationships. And so, what that tells me is that either communication is insufficient, or that she's communicating differently with me than she has with other people before, or that this will end up falling apart for other reasons potentially. Rachel does seem less assertive compared to, say, Megan Lavoda. Well, Megan Lavoda is running the channel that she's talking on, right? What do you have to think? What do you say about that stuff I said, Rachel?
What?
About, I don't even remember what it was now. What do you think about the notion that you seem less assertive than, say, Megan Lavoda?
Yeah, I'd say that makes sense. I mean, because, like you said, she's running her own channel, so she's gonna be the front and center of it. And I have to keep on saying, like, I'm a 7. I think she says she's a 2.
Look, I don't know what aristocratic and democratic technically mean in socionics. I will just say this, that the beta quadra does have a comfort with eliteness. Like, they have Thanks, Jeebus.
Yes, thanks, Jeebus.
Appreciate it. Oh, they have a comfort with there being a inner circle, outer circle distinction that, some people can't go there because they're not part of the proper level or something. They understand that hierarchy. They tend to sort of transcend it, like what Shreddy was saying, or somebody was saying, Adrian B. They tend to sort of transcend it, while at the same time respecting it, and that can make them seem, to some types, potentially hypocritical or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I would say. I want to smoke a cigarette. Let me. Can you hold down the fort for a minute for me, baby?
Oh, thanks, Midnight Blue. Democratic. You view people as their own person, and you view everyone as being equal. That's a good explanation of democratic.
I don't think many Beta Quadrant people would explicitly disagree with that statement, though, while still being aristocratic in nature.
Yeah. I heard it's good. Actually, we took a walk just before.
Where did I put my cigarettes? Oh, I put them in the drawer.
Yeah, good call there. Shutting it up.
Ta-da!
The YouTube notification bell did not ring yet. 24 watching now. Please hit like.
I wonder why it did not ring.
Yeah. I will do that though right now.
I will.
Ew. There you go. Okay. Hey, Kick-Ass Panda. I'm seeing some names that I recognize. Oh my God. Shruti, that's so true. Beta Quadra's FE isn't exactly about equality necessarily. They want to form their gang and find their people and dominate the social hierarchy with their group. Oprah, 100%. Like, I just think about how she keeps it so close. Like, everyone who she works with is hand-picked. And they're very close with her. She lets celebrities in, but she's very selective.
Well, note, of course, Rachel, how Beta Quadrant is this environment in that regard?
Mate with me?
Yeah.
How am I?
And what I'm saying is, look at when you're here with me.
Yeah.
You're the only one admitted into my family.
You're right. I mean, it is, and I would want it that way too. Anyone else who comes in,
No disputing the fact that you're special, right? There's nobody else here.
No. Yeah, the big Oprah. She's great. I mean, she's come through so much adversity and has made a huge effect on people. I can't blame her for wanting to keep it close and for, rewarding the people around her who have like similar stories. Steve Jobs, Oprah, Donald Trump, PewDiePie. Ooh, what do they have in common? I don't know. Pioneers, Beta Quadrant. Yo, you're fucking right. I wouldn't have thought of it that way. Alpha Quadra would meet the typical FE descriptions. Alpha Quadra isn't selective about their gang like Beta Quadra is. They're about bonding with everybody and having good vibes all the time. It's true.
That's true, except I have a Beta Quadra inner circle, outer circle thing going on that I developed because I've had to, basically.
I do see though, like how I could see how you have a more eclectic group of friends though.
Sure.
Like I'm friendly with a lot of people and a lot of groups and diversity. I have a diverse group of people that I know, but they're not necessarily like my best friends. So,
right.
On another video from host Eric, I will leave it again, but simply Google Bobby Van, old movie musical where he hops down the street and leaves everyone smiling. That's how I picture you now. Aww. And that reminds me of Singing in the Rain. And I think Jake Hurwitz, you're drunk. Well, I hope you know your limit. Well, I used to like Black Clothes a lot. Who's high on agreeableness? Me? Oh, you, maybe.
Me? Maybe. I want to ask a question about what somebody said earlier that, ENFJs guarantee good communication or smoother, easy communication.
Mm.
Do you think that that's generally been true? The communication has not been a problem for you?
No. I don't think it's. Do you think it has?
What I'm saying is, like, everybody says communication is key in relationships, right? And what they're saying is ENFJs naturally have good communication skills. It's hard to be in a relationship and not be able to communicate effectively with ENFJs. So, is that the case? Do you always have good communication in relationships?
No. Most time, maybe, but I could definitely say no, not all the time. When I dated an ESFJ and the communication there was not good.
Maybe it's the same reason why some NI users believe in God to conceptualize the unknown as a single entity or idea, which in God implies hierarchy. Well, it would sort of make sense why ENTPs are maybe a little more beta-like with force slot SI.
I like that Breezy Free says you look like a stoic.
Rebet is how this is pronounced. The name of the school I used to work at. For a time, I worked there. My daughter went to school there for middle school, and my ex-wife, at the time was my wife, worked there also. We all worked at the same place. Wouldn't you need to have an awareness of your own FI and TI in order to have something to communicate about in your relationship? That's an interesting question. It's Reddy Chandran, actually. I actually communicate quite a bit about my FI. I don't find those to be good communications between us, frankly. It's me feeling the complexity of emotions and not knowing what to do with it, really. So, I mean, we talk about like I ask her questions about her values and stuff. We talk about ideas, we talk about the channel, we talk about whatever, some experiences. Rachel does have a habit of relating certain experiences as reference points, but much more frequently she'll relate like things from movies or stories or other archetypal stuff. Let me see what that says there. Not sure how that works yet, Bon. I'm newer at this stuff, but I found an INFP. There's not a subtype for INFPs. Subtypes are nonsense. No, Jeeves, I will make a formal apology to you on behalf of Countess. That's silly. Rachel, how do you experience your FI?
I think I use it in like art and writing. And then acting, anything creative, like in my imagination, I definitely use my FI a lot.
That makes sense. I mean, for me, I had this experience earlier today. We were lying here, taking a nap before I had to go to work, and I was thinking to myself, how do I feel about Rachel? And it was an extremely confusing question. It's like I was focusing on different bodily sensations. There's a lot of positive feelings, a lot of fear. There's a lot of, it's like, I don't know what to do with it. I don't even know how to describe what I feel or what it even means to ask the question. That's FI polar. And, realizing that I'd never probably ever done that before, actually. Laying next to somebody and said, how do I feel about this person? Yeah, it flickers up and bursts, and I can be overwhelmed by positive feelings that can immediately convert into this weird kind of harm prevention thing where it's like, okay, now let me be all like jealousy feeling or something. It's not a healthy attentional manner for me, frankly. How does an ENFJ compensate for their SI polar?
I try to make lists and keep an internal thing.
She's got an alarmed reminder to take her medication.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I remind her to go pee. We talk a lot about SI stuff. Like she's pretty good about saying, I think I'm getting hungry in the morning.
Yeah.
Think about food or whatever.
Yeah, I have as I've gotten older, I've gotten better at recognizing it and letting people know. But if you had caught me when I was younger, like as a teen, like I'd be over at I'd be at fucking sleepovers and in a house that I like kind of sort of know. And I know I have to go to the bathroom, but I don't want to wake anyone up. And I know I'm feeling hungry and I'm already awake and I'm not going to go back to sleep. So like those are like all the things. But all this was happening as I was just like laying there thinking. I wasn't actually doing anything about it.
Right. Where's my light bulb says, I like seeing these live streams. They're so much more calming and like zero tension. I agree. It's remarkably easy and pleasant and wonderful live streaming with Rachel. The only problems that Rachel and I have are problems that are in my head that I start fretting about this or that or the other thing. But
that happens with me too. It does.
I try to be as self-aware as I can. Like understand that I've learned already about this kind of thing. That you live the life you want to live. You can either make problems or embrace the fact that there aren't any. What time is it? It's 8:30 p.m. Have you observed patterns of how different types communicate? For sure. My daughter always wants me to play her videos at night so she can go to sleep. Oh, I put her to sleep, huh?
Oh.
Good night, Adrian B's daughter. Sleep well.
That's cute. I used to do the same thing.
Don't let the bed bugs bite. Yeah, I mean, certainly INFPs, INTPs, they use extroverted intuition in a fairly telltale way. You can see the way that their extroverted intuition generates more ideas, more questions, more words, more words, more words. Eric, why don't you two draw some LSD for us to watch? No, thank you. We're not dropping any LSD tonight. Thank you. I'm glad you think it's comforting. I hope it is comforting. And I do think that, obviously in this current relationship, you're not getting videos of me ranting about this or that problem that's being really difficult to resolve. Things are very, very well, it's easy communication. And I'd like to think that while an ENFJ may always seem like relatively easy communication to another partner, from the ENFJ's perspective, it's not always easy communication for them. And I would suggest that perhaps this relationship, Rachel finds it pretty easy to communicate with me and doesn't have to do a lot of the ENFJ work that maybe normally would just have to be done to communicate, because I tend to be very communicative and initiate a lot of topics that I think need to be talked about. Like if I'm feeling whatever about something, I'm just not really capable of keeping my mouth shut about it. I will talk to her about it,
Mm-hmm. Almost as immediately as it comes up in your mind.
Mm-hmm. That might be bothersome potentially.
No, I'd rather you nip it in the butt. I can't take it waiting for someone to talk to about something. You know what I mean? Like that phone call, we gotta talk. I'd rather just do it. Mm-hmm.
I know you typed these IHP, so I think there's a good chance I'm HP with FI polar, so that's pretty resonant with me. It's already being an FI Dom. What are your positive moral indications? Other people's perspectives are normally frightening to most people. People have a difficult time realizing they can't see everything. Ego is. Other people's perspectives are normally frightening to most people. People have a difficult time realizing they can't see everything. Ego is a definite setback. I will agree with you, Jerry, like the mouse, with the first part of that. Other people's perspectives are normally frightening to most people. I think, to some extent, they're frightening to everybody. The way in which two people who love each other see things differently makes them alien and potentially unpredictable. It undermines your confidence in your own expectations. And deviance between expectations and reality is the source of most of the suffering in the world, it seems like. I interact with the public as little as possible. Thankfully, I have that option in your position. Well, good. Glad you don't have to interact with the public too much. Let's see. When you have had difficulty communicating with people in the past, Rachel, what were some of the barriers to communication? Regardless of whether they thought you communicated well, they made you think, okay, this person is actually difficult for me to communicate with.
Interesting. Well, it was with making plans mostly. Like, I thought we would have an agreement on something, and then my partner would go and do something completely different or exactly what I asked him not to do. So it was this constant battle of like, it was almost like we were speaking the same like words in different languages. Just like couldn't hear each other. So it made, doing things together pretty difficult.
Fancy Deluxe asks, Rachel, how do you communicate with the ENFPs?
Pretty well. I had an ENFP coworker at Trader Joe's last year, and she was definitely an ENFP. And what we were able to talk about were like metaphysical things. Like we both were able to talk about like tarot cards and like spirituality and relationships. But she was a lot more scattered than I was, and she had a lot more energy than I did. So I think she was able to talk to me a lot more than I was able to talk to her without uh, needing kind of some space. But always good conversation, really very like insightful. We had a lot of the same topics in common.
So let's see. I think it's interesting that Seretti imagines that FI is necessary to really talk about something in a relationship. But I think for FE types, FE is more reliable than FI. FE is demonstrative FI. So it's like saying I love you is more reliable than feeling love in some regard. We as people have limited amount of ability to trust other people's words because in general we're trained to, people get betrayed a lot. And when there are betrayals, then that means their words were not reliable in some sense.
Yeah.
How did you come to hold them? How did you come to hold what? Freddie, how did you come to hold those morals, Freddie? It's based on how it made me feel guilty to inflict harm on anyone else or know that I could have prevented harm to men and yet didn't do so. So, okay. So feelings of guilt are reliable indicators of moral indication. Dichogamy is when like a species of fish will suddenly turn into a male instead of a female because there aren't any males around. Whether or not I love someone or else or not is irrelevant, I guess. The thing is, it's not irrelevant, but it's not something we can ever establish the relevance of. So as FI polars people, we don't really know what it means, whether it's important, how important it is, or whatever. But the fact is, it really makes a huge difference if you feel a genuine like greedy FI need for the other person. I definitely feel that for Rachel. I felt it before she got here. I feel it when I'm away at work. Like I actually miss her. I remember my second wife saying that to me. Do you miss me when I'm gone? I said no. Obviously, much time when I'm coaching, I'm paying attention to debate stuff. But when I think of Rachel, I have this rush of like physicality in my chest, some sort of something that, represents that I'm more exhilarated by her in my life than I've been with other people for sure. I feel this sense of, feelings like electricity in my body or something. Like, I remember when I was a teenager and I always sort of imagined what it would be like to have a girlfriend and be loved and have her prioritize you over other people and stuff like that. And for her to value you. And I've never had that though. I had a bunch of bullshit, fucked up relationships. So this is pretty ontologically healing for me, for sure. And I suspect it will be for Rachel as well. I hope so. And I think that's the necessary result of being single for a number of years, whether you're, 48 or 34. You start to lose a certain amount of faith in the ideal you once held of a relationship that is genuinely one of mutual and reciprocal valuing.
Mm-hmm.
I know love by what the other does, their actions. Yeah, I mean, I understand that there's only a limited amount of certainty we can glean from our moisture. Our dampness is variable. It's not reliable. It's all over the place. I get that, but I'm saying you kind of need to have that dampness underneath it, or you're just going through the motions. You're just eating dry food.
You're just eating dry food. Eric, I'm curious what are your thoughts on memory bias and its effect on typing?
Memory bias? What do you mean by memory bias? That was in my pocket. That's where it is. I'm not sure what you mean by memory bias. Like, look, it's only if you're saying like the fact that people's memories can't be relied upon, then what you're saying is if I'm asking self-reporting questions about the past, how much do I rely on the factual responses they give me? Not at all. I rely on the manner in which they respond to explain the processes. I don't look to the concrete answers in that fashion. That would indeed be a poor way to type somebody.
F5 forms the morals based on how things would impact the people in the occasion, as well as having memory of the feelings of guilt that come up when you're the only one who's responsible for causing them. Cereal, this delicious little cereal we ate when we were kids. Way too much sugar, yet delicious. Yes, I love cereal. Midnight Blue, that sounds like a good idea. You focus on you and the love will come. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, PT. Cereal is. You are welcome. It is medicine for life. I mean, it's a really nice standby. I've definitely had times where, I didn't have really anything to eat. And I was like, all right, like what am I going to have for dinner? Cereal was there. Nice with Eagles. I'm a Lucky Charms fan too. I was ready to start dating again just about immediately after my relationship ended. Yeah, Isaiah Rude. I mean, look at Eric. I mean, he pretty much was ready to date right after, breaking up with Kim. For me, it actually took a long time. I've been single since what, February, March, something like that. So I actually I gained a lot from being single before dating again. Winston's mom, I went through a Cocoa Crispy phase. My son went through an Oat and O's phase, and his diaper poo was like sandpaper. Oh no. And Cocoa Krispies are good too. We have Cocoa Puffs as well. Those are delicious as well, especially with the milk at the end. Just nothing better. Thanks, Midnight Blue. How long have I been watching the channel? I've been watching the channel for over a year. I started watching probably, oh my gosh, June 2018. I was interested in Enneagram and I stumbled upon talking with famous people. I tend to alternate between Lucky's, Cocoa Pebbles, and Frosted Mini Wheats. Those are all good, Xylan. Oatmeal, Rachel, what do you... I like oatmeal, actually. I like oatmeal a lot. I like it especially in the winter. It would keep me warm in the morning. Yeah, you do have to have more than one option in the pantry of cereal. Ooh, Can Krishna, Sarma Pagu. Like, that is a great idea of putting mixed fruit jam. That sounds delicious in oatmeal. I've added peanut butter. Peanut butter is a really nice addition. Or I'll get, the instant ones that are like peach or apple. Ooh, blueberry Cheerios. I would want to try that. Peanut butter and Cheerios sounds good. Does it have to be a full-time job? Oh, to get insurance? No, actually, if you have a part-time job, you could get Medicaid, right? Yeah, Medicaid. That's what I did. I had a part-time job. I would work, whatever hours, and I'd get Medicaid. So you don't have to do a full-time job. You can. Ooh, sugary dates. Oh my gosh, Winston's mom. That sounds good. I love Fruity Pebbles too. I'm a big cereal person. Bye, Shruti. What do I like about New York? I like that there's a lot to do in New York. Like, New York City is the best city in the world. There's a lot to do there. Like, you could literally find any kind of food. There's parks, there's museums, there's Broadway shows, there's the financial district, there's the history. But then also you go upstate New York and there's apple picking and woods and black bears and fires and SUNY colleges and Cortland and West Point. And then you go out to Long Island and then there's the beaches and Montauk. And the variety of New York is pretty astounding. And I think that we take it for granted sometimes. Bye, PT. What was it like working at Trader Joe's? It was fun, George. I worked with a great crew. I have to say, they hire some of the best people. The location that I was working at the time was heavily trafficked, and there was a lot of people from out of town, and I was working very, very long hours and crazy hours. I was working overnight shifts for and it just became very daunting on me physically. I had to lift all these packages. But I absolutely would say for anyone, if you're thinking about working at Trader Joe's, definitely check it out. The pay is good. The people are great. Their policies are really fair. And for like working for a corporate place, it's still like really good. So it's fun. It's really fun. They have good music playing. That sucks. I'm sorry to hear that, Isaiah Rude. Did I get hit on? Actually, that's really funny. That you say that. The fucking first day on the job, this creepy guy, I was getting trained. This creepy guy, he was trying to hit on me. And I was like, I'm sorry, I have a boyfriend, which was true. At the time, I actually did. I was like, no, I have a boyfriend. You know, like, I was like, I'm not interested. Like, I have to go back to work. I'm being trained. And he like offered to, he said that he wanted to have a threesome with me and my boyfriend. And I told my manager, and they really took care of the problem. They told the guy, like, if you're going to be talking like this, we're going to kick you out and you can't come back here again. So they were very serious about sexual harassment at Trader Joe's. Ooh, thank you.
You're welcome. I really would like to know what FI feels like in high stack users. I would too, Ken Christian Star Pagoo. I'm sure they can figure out their emotional relationship to things very effectively. Jace Greenspan asked, what does my dad do for a living? My dad? He was retired. Let's see. What's going on here in the old chatteroo? You're talking to Rachel? That's funny.
Who?
Jace Greenspan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
we're dating.
Eric, my mother is extremely oblivious to details in her surroundings. Passed the SI and NE test with flying colors. Did okay on genealogy, but didn't try the shackles. Very concerned about others' opinions of her. Oh, the way she comes across to the others, her parents help. ENTP? Sounds like INTP, maybe? I mean, you know, she's in her 30s. I'm in my 40s. So, embrace the feels. That's what it sounds like. I mean, pass the NE and SI test with flying colors. Well, I mean, FE could be deemed selfish in the sense that it expects you to be a team player. FI doesn't care if you're a team player or not. Or it gets this whole other things, you know.
Thanks, Garrett.
Get you a girl who can hold down a YouTube live stream. Right. That's important, actually. Rachel, I you know, the thing is, to be honest, Jay Greenspan, when I was first like scouting out potential chicks to move on that I was familiar with the channel, because you know, why not operate within a field where you have an advantage, right? I dismissed her out of hand as too young. I thought she was in her 20s, mid-20s or something. She's actually 34 years old. And I'm 48. So, yeah. You know, it's perfect, actually, frankly. It's like, there are definitely advantages to having younger woman, you know. There definitely are advantages to that. And I'm enjoying those advantages. So, is it common for people not to be able to tell whether or not they're depressed? I think that's common for ENTPs, common for ESTPs. I don't think it's common for other types. I think that's an FI polar thing. If an FI polar person who's depressed will go, I'm not depressed. I can't seem to get out of bed or do anything because I'm not sure. It's like I'm sad or something. They just don't get it, you know. When I talk to INTPs, their soul or whatever it is seems so cold, like you're touching a metal rod or a robot or something. I don't think that's true of INTPs at all. INTPs are actually quite warm. They just are not very expressive. Countess has third slot FI, I believe. And although Eileen is convinced she's an INTP, I still think Eileen has third slot FI too, possibly. Is an INTP who is cold unhealthy? If they're genuinely cold, possibly. But I don't think really INTPs are genuinely cold. They want someone to appreciate and love them very badly and utilize their genius to good effect. But it's hard for them to find that in the world, and so as a consequence, they may get a little bit disillusioned. Might be a good word. But yeah, I would say that for an INTP who's depressed, they want to have company or get into relationships. I'd say that's generally true. And a relationship can do wonders for an INTP's psyche in general. They really feel like a social tool without a use, as Spacey says, and having a significant other to appreciate them, value them, and tell them nice things about them makes them feel good. Garrett, it doesn't feel uncomfortable when it's in a loving relationship and you can actually believe the other person's being honest about valuing what you have to say and what you have to offer. If you believe the other person is honest in their affirmation of what you have to say and what you have to offer, and that you feel safe enough to sort of lap it up as you secretly want to, it'll be very gratifying to you. That's why you need an ESFJ in theory, and as a dual. Countess doesn't think that. Countess is always playing with that shit. What about you, Fenty Deluxe? Do you have a penis? I should probably know that since you're always telling me you love me. I was thinking of randos. What does randos mean? What's Rebay? No, Rebay is the school I used to work at. I don't know what the fuck.
I knew you would be like that.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Well, it goes from seeming no emotion at rage to rage at times, but I would see what you mean, Fenty. Not if it's cold outside, Eric. Okay. You have a genus, Peter Dentist. Somebody was telling me they were worried about you the other day. Oh, you're talking about. Okay.
You're Ace of Swords.
I'm an Ace of Swords. All right. We'll just leave that one alone. Buffing, is it buffering right now? Are we buffering? I'm sorry to hear that. I like a buffer-free live stream. I specifically requested that. Fancy Deluxe says, I do love myself some INFJ. What are observable traits of auxiliary TI? Well, the tendency to parse everything logically, the tendency to correct themselves even when there's totally no need to correct themselves. For example, this past Wednesday afternoon, I went down to, actually it was Wednesday evening, more like that kind of correction, self-correction. That's indicative of TI tool. If somebody does a lot of that kind of self-correction of meaningless details just to be consistent with the truth as they understand it, then there's a decent chance they're TI tool. It's an overuse of TI, and it's why it's less likely to be TI Dom than it is to be TI tool. What are we drinking? We're drinking coffee with powdered creamer in it. Lots of powdered creamer. Nice to see you in the chat today, says Kick-Ass Panda to Peter Dentici. But we never talked. Can INFJ do that also, the TI correction? Unlikely to do that. NI doesn't necessarily do that. They get the gist of it. It's good enough. No, it's not heated up. Florida's natural. I believe we cached a box of Florida's natural earlier.
Did we? Yeah.
And so yeah. I might be TI tool based on that assessment. Okay, well, maybe I don't know how reliable it is exactly. I have to test it. You got to test the TI and you see if it's like Dom but not quite as good, basically. Are you getting ready to wrap it up, Rachel?
I'm comfy. It's up to you.
Okay. I was just trying to read your body language.
I was looking at this.
Yeah, we should probably smoke some weed. It's a good point.
You think? And I was thinking before we go to bed too, I should have some sort of liquid by me. So I don't want to wake you up. Or
Right. Okay, well, I can get you a bottle of water, or we do have your cranberry juice.
Oh, that would be nice.
Of course, I'll put that in the fridge. Eric, I have a conceptual question for you. Why aren't cognitive functions just balanced right out of the gate instead of imbalanced mess? Well, I think the conceptual answer to that is that the nature of identity is such that you begin by filling in that space and occupying that space as much as you can. You only change when it's required. So it's like one can imagine a development of cognitive functions that begins with somebody filling out their dominant function. And then when it ceases to be adequate, then developing a tool function. When it ceases to be adequate, developing the third, I do have a daughter who's 20 years old, Delilah, for those of you who don't know.
Delilah.
Rachel's met Delilah.
Yeah.
And Delilah's great, and I love her a lot. She's a good kid, and I don't see a lot of her though, so you don't see much of her on the channel. Wouldn't we all develop SE first? I don't know, but I would, let me say this. Delilah, who's an SE Dom, when she was born, they wouldn't let us take her home because she wouldn't go pee. She didn't pee after being born. She held it and held it and held it until finally the nurse put her leg under warm water and she started to pee, and then they let us go. That is what I call ignoring SI right out the gate. Could be polar SI. I wouldn't be surprised if Rachel pulled some similar sort of maneuver when she was born.
Well, it was difficult to potty train me.
Was it?
Mm-hmm. My mom said that it Took a while.
Can you show my daughter your dominant function? You'll have to ask her. I gotta tell you, you better be some kind of dominant male if you want to roll in upon Delilah. She is pretty dominant. Like, I don't know what to say about it. She's got that ESTP, conqueror thing going on.
You have a lighter?
Yeah, I do have a lighter. It's in my hand. You'll hold your pee for 8 hours, but only in your hands. That's wise. Otherwise, you'll damage your bladder. It's the best job for INTPs and ISTPs, Professor. Not for ISTPs. For INTPs, probably. It's a good job. Your mind is in the gutter. Well, a lot of interesting things down there. So, Can, what color is color theory fashion are you? I'm a soft summer autumn.
Oh my God, Winston's mom. I'm an autumn. I think I'm deep autumn. I just started studying that.
What am I?
I don't know.
How do I find out?
Winston's mom could probably help. You go by like hair color, eye color, skin tone. Winston's mom could probably help you.
Yeah, ISTPs probably would be good one to teach you physical stuff, but really they're good ones to like run a business. Does Delilah still have that boy she is shopping? No, she doesn't have him anymore. She broke up with him. We saw her on a date with some new boy the other day, but right now, I'm a winter, says Octavia Silva. But what about this shirt?
I don't think so.
Is this shirt a winter?
Hair.
I was naturally had blonde.
Yeah, that's what it goes by. It doesn't really go by
my old age hair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're probably.
My late ESTP boyfriend often had to drive us around. Lol. Did he die? Midnight Blue? That makes him late? I mean, otherwise you'd say, or is he just tardy? Is he tardy?
Cute.
Or is that your way of he died? Wow, when did that happen? How did that happen? How old are you?
That's terrible, and I feel so bad. Damn.
He died from a heroin overdose, huh? Sorry to hear that, Midnight Blue. That's pretty it's pretty dark. A year ago, huh?
Boo.
Like, how was it surprising? Did you expect it? You know he was doing heroin? I know, Jay Greenspan. You're really you're really punting the FE ball tonight, aren't you, Jason Greenspan? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. So are you still single? Like you've been single since? Or have you gotten into a new relationship yet? Are you still single? And start thinking about time to maybe go out and date again?
Yeah.
No?
Take your time. That's brave of you to share.
Why, Eric? Why what? Oh, you're not over him.
Take your time.
ESTP's push limits. Dating sucks nowadays.
Al-Anon is good.
I'm sure he was.
Mm-hmm.
Hookups are easy, but love is hard. I mean, I think the opposite. I think love is easy, but hookups are hard. I just have never found anybody willing to engage in love before, really. You know?
Yeah.
It's like everybody wants to be difficult. All it takes is somebody who wants to love you and to love, all that stuff. And
Yeah.
and
Genuinely.
love's easy. Hookups suck. Totally. I'm not interested in that. Love's not an overnight thing. I mean, there's a lot of stages to love, There's no reason to necessarily prioritize one stage as more real than another. I feel like I love Rachel. I feel like I'm in love with her. I feel like I loved her a lot before she even got here.
Yeah, we both did.
It takes a lot of time and effort before you actually truly love a person. Huh. Is that true?
I think it just takes a different form of love.
Right.
Like there's the honeymoon phase, but I think it evolves and changes.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, it's one thing that I'm trying to make meaning about that sometimes gives me some trouble. Like, I've not had a beginning of a relationship that goes this smoothly, right? Before, I'm not sure if Rachel has or not. Being an ENFJ, I mean, she's probably good at making a beginning of relationships smooth. She's probably accustomed to having, good beginnings of relationships. So, I just think, Jake Green's fan. Ay, ay, ay. I just, it's always seemed to me it should be easy to be in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And it never has been before.
And
So,
I agree on that.
So I just want, I want this to be real and different and special and unlike anything that either of us has ever been in before. And therefore, somehow not subject to the same sort of failings that previous relationships have been subject to. Whether it will end up being like that or not, I don't know. I get nervous because the more it persists being great, the more attached I get to it, and the more I start thinking, well, how might the rug be pulled out from under me or something? That's just a normal kind of process of fear that one has to process through and realize that's what it is, attached to an idea. I mean, relationships equal sacrificing yourself for the other, always losing yourself, your goals, needs, wants can be great, but no longer worth it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's necessarily what relationships mean? Sacrificing yourself for the other? I mean, I do think there's a bit of sacrifice that's implicit in a relationship, but I don't find that relationships are about losing yourself or your goals or your needs or your wants. I think if it's a healthy relationship, both people's goals, needs, and wants are of concern.
Scissoring.
Scissoring. I think you can speak of love once the relationship has been tested multiple times. Well, see, this is the interesting thing as well, is there's this notion that love is that which persists despite hard times, difficulties, struggles you go through together, etc. And I don't doubt that there is that element, but so far I've been working pretty hard, and I think Rachel has as well, to make sure that we're not having to work through hard times, that we're not having points of conflict that we have to discuss that are difficult, that we are. It's like if Rachel's going to complain about something I did or said or whatever, well, then I have to have done or said something bad, in which case it's my fault, or I didn't, in which case she's being a complainer, right?
Yeah.
So if in fact I don't do anything bad and then she doesn't complain, well, then what? Well, then I guess that means we're fine, right? I mean, what else is there to say? And if it doesn't go the other way around, either she didn't do anything bad, so I don't complain ever. Okay, well, the relationship's not being tested. Does that mean that our mutual positive interaction and affection is somehow not real? I don't get it. Know what I'm saying, dog?
Go ahead, complain. Eric said you could. I mean, I could fake complain, sure. I should. So Eric plays the guitar, but it's on an old guitar, and like we're in this small room, and we really should have like a bigger bed, and there's all these shelves, but like it should be more of a closet. There's no closet in here. And he stays outside with his cat. It's great here. I love it. Yeah, I'm trying to complain.
You're trying to complain?
Yeah. Yeah, Zaylen's like, yeah, I was like, they dared me to complain. Well, since mom said it was okay for me to complain, I was like, you know what? Okay, well. And then I just sounded like someone who would complain about stuff.
You did. It's weird how like powerful it was too, because it's like I just immediately start internalizing the negativity, and you know.
Oh yeah?
For sure.
Oh. Yeah, have you found your light bulb? S.I.L.E. That's cute. Winston's mom. You did? That's interesting. Shruti, Rachel, what is it like to be TI seeking? What do TI seeking people expect from a significant other? So with TI seeking, I think that's another thing that I've like developed over time. Because I could definitely say I only used it in crunch time when it came to like school and papers and tests. And then as I've gotten older and I've done studies, like studied like Stoicism and like Alan Watts and like other things of that nature, I used my TI more, but it was still clear that I was seeking it. like I might have gotten better at it, but it was definitely obvious to others that I was lacking in that area.
Well, I mean, I find it manifest as if I'm sort of carrying on about something, as long as it's ideationally relevant to things she's interested in, she's interested in hearing it. Or at least seems to be genuinely interested in hearing it.
Yeah, I love it.
So that's nice, because I do talk a lot in TI stuff.
I like it a lot.
TI is not necessarily random ENFP. What are you seeking? Some special, very special freak, Countess. Well, SE presumably if you're an INTJ, or FI if you're an ENTJ. Well, if you're an INTJ, it means you're seeking somebody to do the doing stuff, to roll up on you and be like, "Hey, baby."
Yeah, that is me. Did.
If you're, well, I mean, both the deliberation DOMs incorporate the other deliberation function into their deliberation processes, just as I incorporate the other action function into my ideation and make shit happen. So yeah, deliberation DOMs do incorporate some TI, but the issue is which serves which. Yeah, I was wondering about that. It must be, I'm not sure what that is. I think it's about time to wrap it up. What do you think?
Sure.
All right. Good night, everybody. Time for bed.
Cheese.
Cheese indeed.